A very good afternoon to all the students who are present today for yet another lecture of third year BCom semester 5 for the subject Business Administration. I warmly welcome one and all. Now you have been attending number of lectures in BA already, so you are very well aware that we have discussed and completed the first and the second chapter of unit number 1 that talks broadly on financial management and financial planning. In the previous lecture, we also discussed the basic concepts about the third chapter of Unit 1 that talks on the term capitalization. I explained you the meaning of capital and what is the meaning of entire term capitalization. So today, before we move ahead with the new topics for the day, let me just give you an overview of whatever we have discussed up till now in this chapter. So, in the previous lecture, I gave you an understanding about the meaning of capital. We had discussed different viewpoints and the meaning of capital according to their viewpoint, in which the first was the trader's view. Now, when I talk about the trader's view, for an average trader or for an average businessman, the capital is nothing but the entire money that is invested in the business. So, the total value of the assets being employed in a business was nothing but the capital. The second view we discussed was about the economist's view. So, wherein the trader's view concerns all the assets being employed as capital, the economist's view suggests that capital shall be only the value of those assets which can be used for further production. So, the assets that can be put to use for further production was considered as capital according to the economist's view. The third aspect was according to the accounting system. So, this was something you all were familiar with, that as per the accounting system, the money that is invested by the owner, that we call it by the term owner's capital or the owner's fund, plus the money that has been retained in the business, known as the retained earnings or the reserves and surplus, was known as capital. So it could be capital plus reserves, also known as or can also be found out by the term assets minus liabilities. So this was all about the accounting view. From the commerce viewpoint, that is basically you are going to study in the chapter also, capital was the summation, the total of the owner's funds and the borrowed funds. That is to say, it considers capital from a wider viewpoint, where it not only includes the owner's funds, the reserves and surplus, but also considers the money that has been brought from the external sources. And lastly, the legal viewpoint, where capital was considered to be the amount of paid up share capital, the amount of share capital to the extent paid up by the shareholders. So I hope that you remember all the different viewpoints and the meaning of capital based on that. After having studied the meaning of capital, I also explained you what was the meaning of the entire term capitalization. Once you have understood what is capital, capitalization was very simple to understand. The entire amount of capital that has been invested in the business, or I can say the total amount of capital that is being used in order to run the business smoothly, is nothing but capitalization. So the total amount of company's capital, or I can say the total value of the capital stock that the company should have in order to run the business smoothly, was nothing but capitalization. I had also given you an example over here, that when the requirement of company's capital is, let us say, 50 lakhs, the 50 lakh capital is obtained in such a way that 30 lakhs is obtained from the owner himself, known as the owner's capital, and 20 lakhs is being borrowed from the external sources. So 30 lakhs plus 20 lakhs capitalization shall be amounting to 50 lakhs. So in simple terms, I can say the total capital that is being invested in the business to run the business smoothly is known as capitalization. It comprises of, it could be the shares of different classes, meaning to say the equity share, the preference share, the bonds, the debentures, that is to say the borrowed funds or the external sources, the long-term loans, and also the accumulated surplus, that is to say the retained earnings or the reserves and surplus, the money that has been plowed back in the business again, everything comprises of capitalization. So I hope that you are clear with the meaning of capital as well as capitalization. Having studied this much, let us move on with the new topics of the day. In today's lecture, you are going to understand the importance of capitalization, and you shall also understand an important question pertaining to the theories of capitalization. So let us understand the importance of capitalization as to why capitalization is important, why one needs to determine the total capital requirement. So if you remember, in the previous lectures, I had given you an idea why we need to estimate the capital requirements. So I also explained you two kind of situations, that is to say overcapitalization and undercapitalization. So the core of capitalization is to estimate the capital requirement properly and to raise the capital accordingly, because you don't want to face a situation of over or under capitalization. By over capitalization, we mean having capital much more than what is required, and by under capitalization, we mean having capital less than what is actually required. Both the situations have their adverse consequences on every business, and it is not welcomed by any of the business whatsoever. So capitalization will be very much important to estimate the correct capital requirement and thereby deciding the sources from where would you raise the funds. So let us understand the same. So students, importance of capitalization. It would help to determine a reliable and accurate estimate of capital. As I said, it would help us estimate how much capital is required by the business. Once you have estimated the requirement, it would help you understand how it is to be obtained, from which sources it is to be obtained, whether you will raise it from the shares, from debentures, from bonds, or you would take a loan from the bank or any other financial institution. It shall be determined based on the estimate of capital requirement. As I said, correct capitalization would help you avoid the situations of both over as well as undercapitalization, because both the conditions would lead the business towards bankruptcy and closure. So I can say that the core theme of capitalization is to estimate the capital requirement in order to avoid both of these kind of situations. It is also important basically to the investors based on the amount of capitalization, the position of capitalization, they can judge the financial solvency of a business unit. An investor can judge the extent of financial solvency from the capitalization of the business, whether the business is financially sound or not, whether it has enough solvency to meet its liabilities as and when they occur. And capitalization of any business can be judged by comparing the book value and the real value of the shares of the company. So whenever an investor wants to judge the capitalization or wants to judge the financial solvency, it can very well be seen in the book value and the real value of the shares of the company. By book value, we mean the total share capital divided by the total number of shares. And by real value, we mean the earning capacity to be divided by the number of shares. So I would not be going into detail at this moment, because in the next lectures, we are going to study full detailed answers on overcapitalization and undercapitalization. So at that time, I would be explaining how the book value and real value, and based on its comparison, one can judge whether the business is undercapitalized, overcapitalized, or optimally capitalized. So I would not be going into detail right now, but you should just understand one thing, that when we want to judge capitalization, it can be done by comparing the book and the real value of shares. How it is determined, we would be studying in the next lectures. So moving ahead, after having studied with the importance of capitalization, we are moving ahead with the important question on the theories of capitalization. As you can see, there are three theories which helps to value capitalization. As you can see, it is the cost theory of capitalization, the earnings theory, and the present market value of asset theory. We would be understanding each and every theory of capitalization in detail, starting with the first one. It is the cost theory. Now, under the cost theory of capitalization, the capitalization of a company is based on the total cost. When I say total cost, we are considering the cost of the fixed assets, the working capital that is being introduced to run the business, and the promotional expenses that are incurred. When all the three items are combined, you can determine the value of capitalization of a company. Now, students, you need to understand the answer very well because it is a bit complicated and slight heavy. So try to have your keen attention while you are understanding all the three theories. The first being the cost theory, you need to understand that it is used, or it is basically applied for a newly established company. Only for a company, only for a business enterprise that is newly set up, one can use the cost theory to determine capitalization. Why and how, I would be explaining you right now. So as I said, it is useful for a newly established company. Capitalization will be the total cost of fixed assets that are introduced in the business, the working capital that is being used to run the business regularly, and the promotion expenses, because when a company is newly established, it has to incur promotion expenses. It could be preliminary expense, it could be underwriting commission, it could be the amount of goodwill, etc. So when all the three costs are added, one can determine the capitalization of a company. Once you know the amount of capitalization, that is to say how much capital is required, you can decide as to how the capital will be raised, whether to issue shares or whether to go for debentures. But you need to understand one point in the first theory, that this theory can only be applied to a newly established company and not to an existing company, not to a business which is already established and running since a long period of time. Why? So the reason is very simple, that when we apply this theory to an established business or to an existing business, the value of its assets is not the same as the value at which it was acquired. I would give you a very simple example over here. When you buy an asset today, let us say you buy a car today, you buy a two-wheeler today, its value would depreciate with the period of time. So this theory can be applied only for a newly established company, because the cost is the original cost of the assets. But when I talk about an established company, the book value of the asset and the actual market price is completely different. So as I said, it is not an adequate basis for an existing company because the book value of some of its assets may not be real. If they are purchased at higher price than their actual market price. They may have been purchased for a higher price, but today, if you compare it with its actual market price, they both are not same. So because of the same reason, this theory is applied to a newly established company and not to an existing company. Also, as I mentioned, the fixed assets may have become obsolete. Obsolete meaning to say they may have become old or they are poorly employed. They are not of the same condition at which they were acquired, they were purchased. So the earnings will be lower than what it should be looking to the total investment of the company. So if you would consider this theory for an established business, definitely it will show you the earnings lower than actual looking to the total investment of the company. So I would repeat again, the first theory of capitalization is the cost theory, which is applicable only to a newly established company and not to an existing company. When I say cost, it is the cost of fixed asset, working capital, and the promotion expenses incurred to start the business. Once you decide the value of capitalization, you can decide from where the money will be acquired, whether shares, whether debentures. And students, why cannot it be applied for an existing company? Because when we say we are considering the cost of assets, there may be a situation that the book value and the actual value or the market value of the asset is quite different. Your actual price must be lower than the price at which the asset was actually purchased. Also, the fixed assets with time and span get depreciated, so the earnings would be showing lower than what it actually should be. So this theory is not applicable to not applicable to an existing company, but applicable to a new company only. So if you have understood with the first theory, we go to the second theory, that is the earnings theory. Now, when I say earnings theory, as the name itself suggests, we are determining the value of business or we are determining the capitalization of the business based on the amount of the earnings of the company. We are considering the earning capacity and thereby we shall decide the amount of capitalization. It works on a simple principle that the business main goal is profit maximization. So even the value shall be based on the flow of expected earnings. So let us understand the second one. So here the value of capitalization is equal to the capitalized value of its estimated earnings. As I said, it shall be determined on the basis of what the business is going to earn. Capitalization of earnings is a process in which the value of business is estimated on the basis of the flow of its expected earnings. We are basically deciding the value of business based on its expected annual earnings. Also, the rate of earnings will be compared with the rate of earnings of the other similar companies in the same business. We shall be comparing the average estimated earnings of our company with the rate of earning that one can get under the similar company having the same business. For example, let us say that investors expect 9% rate of return and the company's average annual profit is 90,000. That is to say the earnings are 90,000 and the investor with the same amount can get a return of 9% externally in any other business. So the capitalization will be 90,000 multiplied by 100 divide by 9, that is the rate of return. It would give you the value of capitalization, that is rupees 10 lakhs. So I hope that you are clear. Under earnings theory, we are determining the value of business or capitalization of the business as the capitalized value of its estimated earnings. We are considering the expected earnings of the business to decide the value of capitalization. When I say earnings, we are comparing it with the rate of earnings of other similar companies. If investor expects 9% return and the company's profit is 90,000, it will be 90,000 multiply by 100, because percentage is always on 100, divide by 9, it gives you the value of capitalization, that is 10 lakhs. So to give you a summary of the second theory, I can just say that there are two factors which will be considered for determining capitalization. First, that you have seen the average annual earning of the company, and the second, that is the expected rate of return on its investment. When we talk about the average annual earning, you have to understand that there would be some changes in the earnings with the span of time. So generally it is taken on the basis of the average of last 3 years of earnings. So we would compare the earnings with the rate of return, and thereby we get the value of capitalization. The third and the final theory of capitalization, a very simple one. It is based on the present market value of the asset theory. Now you are very well aware up till now that the first theory we did, that was the cost theory, it is only applicable for a newly established company. It cannot be used for an existing company, because I told you that the value of assets change with the span of time. The actual market price and the book value of that asset, both are quite different. So based on that, you cannot determine capitalization. Because of that reason, there is another theory that was introduced basically for the existing companies or the established businesses, that determines capitalization based on the present market value of asset. So let us understand. As I said, existing companies make use of it, where the present values of companies' assets are determined. You are not considering the book value, but you are considering the present value of the company's assets, which may have been depreciated due to the working conditions, the market demand, and whatever depreciation has been charged so far. So all these things are taken into consideration, and thereby the present value of the company's assets will be determined. Once you have determined the present value, all you need to do is deduct the total liabilities. So once you have determined the market value of these assets, the total liabilities are deducted. So whatever left over is, the resultant figure is capitalization. This is the easiest of all the theories that you can see. I hope that you are clear with what we have discussed today, especially pertaining to the three theories of capitalization. I would again show you the theories especially, and don't worry in case you are confused with the theories. I would make a good revision again in the next lecture. But before I end the lecture, have a quick glance at the explanation of the theory. I would give you a summary once again so that the concept goes to your mind. So students, we have done three theories for capitalization. First one is the cost theory. Have a quick look at all the concepts we finished in it. Mainly you have to remember that cost theory is applicable for a newly established company. And when I say cost theory, as per its name, capitalization is the total cost of three things. Which three, my dear students? It was investment in fixed assets, the working capital that is employed in the business to run the business, and the promotion expenses. By promotion expenses, because a newly established company needs to incur expense on promotion. As I said, could be advertisement, could be the preliminary expenses. Once you have decided capitalization, you can estimate as to from which source the money will be raised. I told you that it is not a good basis to determine the capitalization for an existing company, because in case of an existing company, the value of assets tends to change with the span of time. You cannot expect the fixed asset that was employed years before to have the same value today also. There are a number of things such as working conditions, depreciation that tends to bring the actual market price lower than the price at which it was purchased. So you cannot consider the theory for an existing company. And by now you know also that we have a third theory that can be applied for an existing company. You may read the last paragraph also, that fixed assets over time get obsolete, poorly employed. So you cannot use this theory for an existing company for the same reason. Because if you would consider the value of fixed assets in case of existing company, the earnings would be quite lower, would seem quite lower than actually it is. So this was the cost theory. Under the earnings theory, as I said, because the main aim of any business is profit maximization, we are deciding the value of the same based on the earning capacity of the business. We would consider two things, that is the average annual earning of the company, comparing the same with the expected rate of return on investment. So have a quick glance at all what we have studied for earnings theory. So it will be estimated on the basis of the flow of expected earnings, compare the same with the rate of earnings in the other similar companies. Lastly, you have discussed the present market value of assets. That was quite simple. To avoid the limitation of the cost theory, this theory was introduced, which can be applied to the existing companies. So the present value of companies' assets would be determined considering number of factors, and by deducting the total liabilities from the same, you can get the amount of capitalization. So I hope that you are clear with all what we have studied today. In the next lecture, we would be revising the theories once more, and then I would be starting with the two important topics of the chapter that talks on overcapitalization, its effects, remedies, causes, and undercapitalization, and the same causes, effects, and remedies applied to the same. Do let me know for any doubts whatsoever. Post them in the Google Classroom, and I shall be answering to them at the earliest. See you soon in the next lecture with the topic of overcapitalization. Thank you so much for the day. Until then, happy learning.